Um, I appreciate everyone was able to accommodate us this morning and join us at this early morning meeting. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Today is Monday, October 3rd. It's about 9:31 p.m. Welcome to the West Hartford Public Safety Committee meeting. This meeting is available for live viewing on WHCI YouTube channel as a virtual meeting. So again, I'd like to call the meeting to order and recognize all those around the virtual table, starting with Chief Priest and a member of his staff, Chief Riddick, Town Manager Rick Ledwith, Councilman Alberto Cortez, Mayor Sherry Cantor, Councilwoman Adrian Billings Smith, and Fire Marshal Grimaldi. And I also see another person on the virtual screen that has Sarah under the box. Sarah, or if it's someone else, if you would just identify and introduce yourself, or if I'm seeing something incorrect, please let me know.
I believe that's Sarah's my operations assistant in the office.
Okay, thank you, Chief. All right, so we'll get started with the agenda items on number 2, which is the business items. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ledwith. But before I start, did we have minutes that we needed to approve from the last meeting?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rick Ledwith, Town Manager. We do have minutes. We were waiting for the minutes to be produced from our outsourced vendor that provides us with the minutes. And there's a delay in getting those minutes, so we'll have them ready for the next meeting.
Okay.
Try to spend in contact with them. So, and other than that, nothing new under business items, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. So we'll move to the next business item for communications. Nothing?
Nothing there, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. And so we'll just go ahead and jump into staff reports, and we'll start with Chief Priest and his team. So I'll turn it over to you, Chief.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. Good to see everyone on the screen. I'm joined by EMS Officer Rocco Lodato. So he's one of the folks that's working tirelessly behind the scenes. You may have heard his voice before, or you may have heard his name before. And we have a topic today to talk about that we'll get some recognition for. So first, we're broadcasting from a new location, which is our Office of Emergency Management today. Thanks to the town council support of town manager Ledwith as well. We are having some renovations in our headquarters to have our vault turned into a conference room, which will also serve as an anteroom to our EOC. So thank you for that, and we're glad to be in a new location today. So the first item, I'm just going to work off of mostly my notable events and incidents, which is on my report, which has been submitted, but just touch a few things briefly. First, and I know this is very close to the mayor's heart, we are very pleased to be able to announce that we submitted our application to the state to be a heart-safe community. That's a great designation for us that shows our commitment to the chain of survival. And I'm glad Rocco's here with us today because along with him, Matt Schraber and apparatus operator, paramedic Bill Shappert, they've certainly spent a lot of time out in the streets working with our community members on CPR training. And also you heard our statistics in our last Public Safety Committee meeting about our cardiac arrest survival. So very pleased to report that. We should get our certificate from the state, and obviously kudos to our police department partners as well who assist with our CPR safe. So it's a resounding success for public safety in West Hartford. Moving to the next item, glad to work with our partners in the police department. We completed a drill this month in the Rotten Hide fight. That was done with our town hall employees, and by all accounts, it was a successful drill. We're working on a after action report with that. Deputy Chief Bassett is working to make sure that that comes out in coordination with the police department, along with some additional drills for both public safety responders, but also we'll be doing something for West Farms Mall over active shooter. In order to accommodate our planning and preparedness in that area, Chief Bassett's position in training and support services is still being covered right now by acting Deputy Chief Beebe, and he's doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, he was tossed an interesting pitch earlier this month where we were notified by facilities after an engineer evaluated our training building that it's been condemned for use. So also very pleased for the foresight of the council for the budgetary support to build a new training tower. We'll be working with our partners in DPW and facilities to look at the spot down on Brixton Street. And Deputy Chief Beebe will be working on an interim plan for how we can continue to train our firefighters in the absence of that. Just notably, having a on-site training tower is incredibly important to our ISO rating as well. So we have to pay close attention to that as we move forward. Two other calendar related items. On November 13th, we have tentatively scheduled the IFF 1241 has scheduled their annual memorial service for fallen firefighters. This is notable because this will be the 20th year that firefighter Pat Brooks has passed away, so his family will be in attendance. So if you would like, we would love to have any council members available. You're welcome to join us for that. Moving on, we also have a swearing in ceremony on November 9th. We have some new staff that have started. They are up in the academy. We also have Fire Inspector James Paul is working with us now. It's a good addition to our office. And we had one promotion of an apparatus operator as well. Unfortunately, COVID is still with us. We've been seeing a little bit of a bump in our sick leave, but it seems to be moderating. It's just a little bit of a reminder that we still have to be safe, wear masks if we're not feeling well before we come into the work environment. But luckily, most of these are not very severe cases. So just a little note to the wise. And then lastly, our CERT team is recruiting. So there is information about that. That's an incredibly successful program. Love seeing these community members out volunteering their time for our community and really appreciate it. And with that, I will conclude my remarks and take any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you, Chief Priest. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Chief Priest this morning? Councilor Cortez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With regards to the tower, what's the process for it already? So it's approved, but what's the timeline to get that going?
Great question, Councilor. So we do have approved capital improvement money for that as well. As I understand it, we're able to advance that without any council approval necessary. So what we're doing is we've put together a fire department committee to determine our needs moving forward. We're looking at both the national regulation, so NFPA 1403, as well as how our ISO rating. And then from there, we'll be engaged with our partners in facilities who we expect will likely hire a consultant and architect to help us determine the site location for that. Obviously, there's some new land that was procured down in that area. There's a discussion ongoing about whether its size will and configuration will work for it. But either way, we're here in partnership with the town to find a good location. We don't anticipate it moving off of the Brixton Street location. That's a good area for this. But I think really fundamentally, it's expediting our timeline as quickly as we can, while at the same time realizing that that's a significant long-term investment of the town.
Okay, thank you for that.
Mayor Cantor.
I just wanted to reiterate the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States of America and in Connecticut. And us being prepared and having the response rates we have does save lives in our community. And I'm just grateful for your commitment to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the report, Chief. I would like to ask a question regarding the drill at the West Farms Mall. I saw in the report that everything will begin once the mall shuts down. And I think I'd like to ask you, offline a little more about that through Mr. Ledwith. That's okay.
Yep, we can arrange for that, Madam Chair.
The reason why I ask is because I saw the drill on the district side, so it'd be interesting to get some more information um, about the town or working with the mall and how we coordinate those efforts.
Okay, we can do that.
All right, thank you. All right, Chief Riddick, I believe it's your turn now, so I'll turn it over to you.
Morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. My brief report was submitted already. I will touch on a few highlights of the report. In addition, I have several other things I'd like to mention, and so I appreciate your indulgence as I attempt to really fast run through it. First, as far as hiring and retention, we have 8 vacancies. We have 9 recruits in 2 different police academies right now due to graduate in December. We also have 2 certified officers in the hopper that we plan to hire on October 10th and have a swearing-in ceremony shortly thereafter at some point. So we'll attempt to get that information out to you early, so you're not scrambling around, because you know that we were a little bit late sometimes with notifications. So I apologize for that. Pistol permits in September, year-to-date September of 2021, we had 146 applications, pistol permit that I signed out to the public. On September 22, year-to-date, we only have 34. So it's been a significant decrease last year to this year. In September, the 34 were 24 men and 10 women. And overall, year-to-date for 2021, there were 525 pistol permits that were signed from this office through September. And year-to-date of this year in 2022, we're down to 223. So again, our numbers are trending much more on the lower end compared to last year. Notable recent police activities. We had motor vehicle accidents last year in September 21. We had 111 and 413 car stops. This year in September 22, year-to-date September 22, we had 173 motor vehicle accidents and 603 car stops. Just extrapolating, like, what does that mean? Obviously, we're doing many more motor vehicle stops this year than we were last year. It's also showing that more people are getting back to normal, more cars are on the road and everything else, as opposed to this point last year. September 30th this year, we had, and many of you saw the news release we put out on this, there was an unfortunate purse snatching and robbery where a gentleman randomly just on the area of Kane Street walked up to a woman, grabbed her purse. She fought, just trying to protect her property. Put a quick description out with the help of Hartford Police Department, West Hartford officers were able to secure an area, set up a perimeter, and quickly apprehend the individual. He was arrested for robbery 3rd, assault 3rd, larceny 4th, and breach of peace. The victim had very minor injuries. So we're pleased with that. Excellent work in collaboration with Hartford Police Department. You also saw we were able to get 3 reckless motorcycles off the street. Kudos again to our personnel. And 3, we have our beat officer Bona on patrol, checking the Isham garage on September 21st. And we had individuals using narcotics in a vehicle. We secured arrest for them and provided medical attention for them for paraphernalia and the like. If you can indulge me I apologize, I just want to mention probably 3 or 4 other highlights that were not on the report, but worth mentioning. On September 21st, we had a call in the area of Trout Brook Drive of a woman brandishing a firearm outside of a home and pointing the weapon. We got a description of the vehicle. Officers converged, able to conduct a motor vehicle stop within town. As it turns out, the person had some mental health issues, and what we thought was a firearm was actually a BB gun. So it worked out fine. We're submitting arrest warrants for that person when they needed medical attention, mental health. So that person was committed to the hospital although the weapon was a BB gun, I'd like to commend our officer for the restraint that they show, because you can't tell in the heat of the moment. But it was exercising restraint. We did get information the person could have some mental health issues. So that worked out fine. But they also did have several boxes of live ammunition within the vehicle too, but no firearm associated with that. On September 15th, in the area of 1 South Street, we had a burglar alarm that occurred about 2 o'clock in the morning. Officers quickly responded to the area, established a perimeter, and did a quick grid search. And we found a person hiding in the bushes. There was entry that was made into the building. We tied that person to the burglary and made arrest. And as it turns out, the individual also had an arrest warrant out of Hartford for burglary. So another job well done by our personnel. On September 9th, we had a call at Stop and Shop at 176 Newington Road at the N&T Bank. On the inside of a party that slid a note across to the teller demanding money. The teller got up to grab some of the money. The person at that point got alarmed and ran out of the building. We quickly were able to respond to the area. Again, set up a perimeter, find somebody that matched the description, bring it back and tie them into the robbery. No weapons were displayed, so that was good. But again, great work by our personnel. So that individual was arrested for robbery in the second degree, and he was held on a $100,000 bond. That individual also had a robbery second warrant out of Hartford, and that bond was for $50,000. So a job well done by our personnel. This gives you just a slight indication of what's actually occurring out there. And last but not least, as you know, we have the flock camera system that we have throughout the town. We got an alert for a stolen motor vehicle in the area. The Greater Hartford Auto Theft Task Force, in which we have 3 or 4 of our personnel participating with this task force. We're able to utilize unmarked vehicles. So we have unmarked vehicles, we have undercover vehicles, then we have marked vehicles. The unmarked, you could still probably tell they're police cars, but we also have what we call undercover cars, or just normal cars. You would never know that they were police vehicles. They're able to trail this car and follow them in a tag team and use radios to converge and just wait for the person to stop somewhere, which they did. Once that person stopped, they were able to converge and safely bring them into custody without a pursuit, without any injuries. So another job well done. The officer involved were able to, with the task force, they arrested 3 people, various charges, including larceny in the first degree, illegal possession of narcotics, and drug paraphernalia. That person had remained to custody before they were a parole absconder, so they were on parole, and did not check in with their PO. They had a $50,000 bond for them. Another person, conspiracy for larceny first, illegal possession and drug paraphernalia, $50,000 bond. Another, remand to custody for a parole absconder. And then last but not least, another individual who did not have a warrant, believe it or not, and that person was arrested for interfering with an officer, possession of drug paraphernalia, and larceny 6, and they had a $10,000 bond. So my apologies, Madam Chair, for going a little longer than normal, but I really thought it was important to let the public know and let you all know some of the great work that our officers are doing out there safely. With all of these things, nobody had any significant injuries. That concludes my report. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief Riddick. Does anyone have any questions or comments for the chief? Counselor Billingsmith.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chief Riddick, for your report. I just wanted to know if there was an update on the Trout Brook Trail cameras or phones that we were thinking about putting in the system throughout the trail.
Yeah, we're still working going forward. And Town Manager, if you want to speak first, I can follow up. I see your mic's off, but I can take it if it's up to you.
Oh, no, I was going to let you take that. I know Assistant Chief Rickaban was working on that project, and I didn't know if he had kept you up to speed on what he's been doing so far. Thank you.
Well, we know that Assistant Chief Rickabon can just go off on his own, but he does do a good job. But he gets stuff done. But yeah, he's met with Dwayne Engineering and other. We had some very productive meetings. There's a few things we're not going to do, but we are going forward with some type of notification system. We're not so sure it's going to be a phone because most people have cell phones. So some of the things we're looking at is like a blue light, like you see in the college campuses at certain parts along the trail with markings on the poles. So if something were to occur, a person could call in and say, I'm near pole, red pole number 8, something along those lines, and we would know where that location was. Through our conversations with the public safety officials at the colleges who really utilize this system, they have not found the actual phones on the poles to be effective because of the proliferation of cell phones, but all the other markings have been productive for them.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Counselor Billingsmith. Anybody else have any? Counselor Cortez?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chief, I just wanted to know if there was any updates on the attempted bank robbery on Webster Bank that happened a few weeks ago.
No further updates with that. If you just for the council, just to remind everyone, there was an individual that went into actually multiple banks, West Hartford, Bristol, and I believe Avon or Simsbury. It was the same individual. We got a good description, but at this point, we're not able to identify who that person is. But we are working with the FBI is part of this statewide, as well as our local authorities, trying to identify this person. And at each location, he did not get any money. So he came in, he made a demand, but he left prior to receiving money.
Thank you for that.
Thank you, Counselor Cortez. Mayor, do you have anything?
No, I just wanted to say incredible work on solving a lot of these cases that are really dangerous, and I'm just so grateful for a remarkable professional service.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to echo the same thing, Chief Riddick. Thank you to you and your team. And what I find fascinating is that many of us that are traveling around town may see many of the men and women in blue pulling over vehicles. And if you're not on this committee or in the know, you may think otherwise. But to hear you explain all the information that you just did in terms of keeping the community safe, it just speaks volumes to the work that you do and how you work in collaboration with the surrounding public safety departments. And not only that, how your team of men that works with that task force is so critical for the safety of all of us. So again, I just really want to sing your praises. And also, I love the way that you also work in tandem and collaboration with our fire chief and their team as well. One question I do have, something that I observed last weekend when 3 of us was walking on the trail. I noticed, let me see, what was that? Boulevard and Trout Brook, where they have the Little League, I want to say either softball team, could have been soccer, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So the rec team. So what I noticed that there was 2 minors. One kid was actually walking across like a little wood makeshift bridge, if you will, over the brook. And I was very concerned because I didn't see any adults around. So I went back to find out, whose child it was and why weren't they supervised or what was going on. And as I was going to look for an adult, I then saw one of the parents coming forward to, find out where he was. So I'm wondering if perhaps we can put something out to these little league teams that are around the brook just to remind them of safety precautions and children that may wander off and no one realizes that they are wandering off. Because I know, just as all of you are, we're a big proponent of safety and being proactive and not being reactive. So just maybe something for you all to consider. I know everyone is probably engaged in what's going on, and then after the fact, there may be something that was avoidable.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll speak with Helen Rubino Turco and Mark Blanchard, and that's the girls softball field, which is the Norfelt field right there by Boulevard and Trout Brook. So we will pass along that message and get some communication out to the leagues to do that. Also have Public Works take a walk down the trail and make sure that that makeshift bridge is no longer there for anyone to unsafely traverse. So thank you.
Okay, so if there isn't anything else, we can move to future agenda items. Does anybody have anything that they would like to place on the next agenda that they would like addressed? Okay. All right. So before we adjourn, this is a very short meeting, so I'm going to give you a lot of time back. But I do need to acknowledge, because I failed to do so at the top of the meeting, many of our neighbors in our southern states that has just experienced the terrible hurricane. My daughter, who lives in Florida, Miami, just missed it because she happened to come here for a funeral. But I have to, really give my condolences to the number of people who lost their lives, and also sing the praises of the first responders that went in after, trying to recover and locate some of those folks who chose to ride the storm out. And over the weekend, I had several conversations with people who were talking about folks who had warning to get out beforehand. And some of the conversations I had to keep it real, because I said, well, there are some situations where people may not be able to leave for any number of reasons, medical issues or just affordability. And so I just wanted, if we can, before we close, just kind of take a moment of silence just to remember those members and people who have lost their lives, and think about their family and the loss of property as they try to figure out how and where to start to begin to build their lives back. So if we can just take a moment, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So with that, we're adjourned, and I will follow up with you, Mr. Ledwith, for Chief Priest about the West Farms. Okay? Thank you,
Very good.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day today.